Hi there, my name is Trudy. Many of you know me as One Grounded Angel, and this is an angel card reading for the week starting the 15th of November through to the 21st of November 2021. It is a big week. So we have a full moon happening on Friday, which is also a lunar eclipse. Very exciting. So a full moon is always about releasing or getting some sort of breakthrough in something. So it could be the culmination or the harvesting of something you've been working on for the past 6 months. If you'd set goals around that time, or it could be that something is taken out of your life that is no longer serving you. Now that can obviously be a bit challenging, but it is for the greater good if we can try and keep that in mind. Sometimes we don't understand that till later down the track. So when we have a lunar eclipse, that heightens the energy around it. So you may be starting to feel that already. The energy does start to build for a couple of weeks before. So it's happening in the sign of Taurus. And so the eclipse part might mean that you're feeling it more when you maybe wouldn't normally be feeling it, and may do after the event as well on Friday. So that's just when it peaks and when the eclipse happens, but the energy will start to build before and then dissipate after. Taurus is a sign of value, of work, money. Can be, when I say value, obviously that can include money, but it can also be about your own personal value in terms of your self-confidence and your sense of self-worth. So as I mentioned before about the whole letting go part or the breakthrough, maybe some of you are going to have a breakthrough about your value. You're going to realize, I'm not being recognized, or my value is not being recognized in this job, and you might decide to make a change in that area or in this relationship. Maybe you will start to have a new understanding of your value, and maybe you won't make changes, but maybe you'll just have the understanding come through. Or maybe there will be a work shift for you happening. Maybe it won't be as you would have wanted it to be, but maybe that's how it needs to be. Or, maybe we'll have a windfall, since we're talking money in that sign as well. So who knows? I should mention also it can be about beauty, because Taurus is ruled by the planet Venus, which is about, yes, worth, but also and money, but also beauty. So all those sorts of things around our real beauty. Yes, we can, experiment with appearance-based beauty, but that's not really in a spiritual sense where our value comes from. So again, we're coming back to value. So I've just started shuffling for the week, starting with Monday, of course. Kuan Yin, compassion. So Kuan Yin is a deity revered in Eastern disciplines. In this particular card deck, she is associated with compassion, and specifically around the way we judge other people. Now, I am never going to tell you to stop judging people, because it is a normal thing that humans do, and I don't know that it's possible to ever get to a point where you're no longer judging people. We are souls in human bodies after all. But it is asking you to notice when you are going into judgment and where that might be an issue. Maybe it's stopping you from recognizing something that you need to know about that person. You might be judging them for their behavior, which may be completely warranted, but it's stopping you from seeing the full nuance of that person's experience. Maybe they're also struggling with some challenge in their life that you're not seeing. And that doesn't make their behavior, something you should necessarily accept, but it does help you to see that we're all humans doing the best we can, and sometimes we make choices which aren't particularly helpful. But that doesn't take away our humanity. So it says release judgments about yourself and others and focus on the love and light that's within everyone. So that applies to you as well. Is there a bit of self-judgment going on? And that could tie in with what I said earlier about value. Maybe you're running yourself down and seeing yourself as less than, deficient, not good enough, and that's stopping you from recognizing an opportunity that you actually are perfectly qualified and perfectly ready for. You just don't see it yourself. So make sure you're not judging yourself because you're not the same as somebody else who is already in that job. Maybe just try to recognize that you have value too, and your value might look different to other people's, but there's no, in spirituality, the whole point is about trying to get away from this comparison. You're better than me, I'm less than, I'm superior to that person, so I'm going to judge them, and just recognizing that we're all on an even keel. Although again, sometimes some of us make choices that don't serve ourselves or others. So Tuesday is about share the message of love. A weird name for this card, but it's about communication and speaking up, which this daffodil, this always makes me think of a mouth, I guess, because of this particular card. So just noticing your communication and whether it's helpful or unhelpful. Again, this could tie into the way you speak to yourself. And when I say speak to yourself, that doesn't have to be out loud. It could be the way you speak to yourself in your head, not necessarily vocalized. Sometimes this serves as a little bit of a nudge from the universe. Like, have you noticed that you are gossiping about this person a lot and not actually giving them the chance to be aware that you're upset with them? And when we are, and it's all right to have a rant about someone behind their backs, we all do it from time to time, but if you're doing it repeatedly, that means that you're having a conversation with the wrong person, because the person you're venting to can't fix it. You can. You need to bring it to that person in a kind and respectful way, or it's certainly an assertive and not aggressive way to try and get out of that pattern of constantly complaining. Again, nothing wrong with complaining. It's just when we're in that stuck pattern of complaining that we've, maybe there's something we need to do. It's when we're starting to become disempowered. Other communication, maybe there is something you need to say to someone that you're avoiding. This is encouraging you to do just that, and just watch the way you are communicating, because maybe someone needs something. They need to. Let me start that again. Maybe someone is needing to hear something from you, but you're so stuck in your own stuff that you're not really giving that to them. Maybe they need some reassurance. They need to know that you love them, or something like that. But you're so busy focusing on all the stuff that's circling around your head that you've forgotten about that. So helpful communication maybe is the best way to put that. Wednesday's message: believe and trust. Two of the central pillars of my work as an energy healer. I love the colours in this particular illustration. Trust is huge. We often talk about trust in regards to our relationships with other people, but in a spiritual sense, trust is also about our trust in ourselves and in the universe. Sometimes people have no trust in the universe because they feel like nothing is working out for them, or anytime something good happens, it gets taken away. And that can then become a self-fulfilling prophecy, unfortunately. We start to attract the things that we don't actually want. So if that's the case, definitely working with an energy healer will help you clear that limiting belief at a very deep level, so you're not attracting those outcomes. But also, the way this ties to the word believe is whether we believe that good things can happen for us and we trust that the universe can make them happen for us. Do we trust ourselves to be able to make good things happen, that we can follow through on what we said we'd do, follow through on what we want to happen in our lives? Or do we go into a loop of you're going to screw this up, so don't bother trying, and then in comes the procrastination to support that belief. Looking at those beliefs might be really key for you. But the presence of the sword here is all about strength and courage. So trying to bring through the courage to believe that we can trust ourselves, we can trust the universe, and things can work out for us. Maybe that's what's most needed there. Going to Thursday now. Trust is something that a lot of people have issues around. Can show up in different ways. It can show up in all the ways at once. They can all be related, of course. And it is something that takes a long time to work through. So if you're getting stuck in a loop of mistrust for whatever reason, definitely reach out to an expert. You will need help to shift that because it can be quite challenging. Thursday's card is shield yourself. We had a message about shielding last Friday, so do go back and look that up if you want more information. But essentially this is about protecting you from other people's stuff. Really, really important. We don't do other people any favours by taking on board their problems, trying to solve their problems for them, trying to feel bad because they're going through a bad time, feeling guilty if we're happy when someone else is sad. That's not super helpful. In fact, anytime guilt's coming up, that's a bit of an alarm for me if I'm feeling guilty, because guilt's a pointless emotion. What's really going on here? And often it can be more about me. Well, usually it's more about me than it is the other person. And as well as shielding yourself energetically, some basic boundaries would be appropriate here. Shielding yourself from taking on what other people are emitting. Yes, we do that for shielding, but if we can choose not to spend time with those people or go into those environments, even better. So Friday's card here, the eclipse day, proceeding softly, very gentle illustration there. So it's tied into that message about shielding in terms of you might need to retreat a little bit, and we had that card retreat on Sunday as well. So these themes are being repeated because they're important. Scorpio season is intense. There's a lot of stuff that comes up. It's one of the most spiritual signs, and it does bring up a lot of stuff that is hidden underneath because Scorpio has that subterranean energy. So a lot of people are getting confronted with realizations about things that are going on that they need to work through. Not always comfortable, but more uncomfortable to stay stagnant in something that is harming you. So better to go deep and work through it to come out the other side. And maybe that some self-reflection time is the best way for you to do that. Spending time on your own to think, instead of pushing yourself to go out and spend time with people and be out in the world. That might be the most unhelpful thing you can do right now. Maybe you need to be at home journaling or listening to some gentle music, not listening or not watching some thriller movie on streaming service. Maybe something more gentle and calming would be helpful. This message is interesting. My inner power grows in moments of quietude. I didn't know quietude was actually a word, so I've learnt something new today. But the thing that stands out here is actually power. Power comes from spending time on our own. You know, we have a society that's all about mingling with people and being out and about, and there's nothing wrong with that, of course, but for a lot of people, their power doesn't actually come from that. It's not that they don't want to be spending time with people, it's just that their power often comes from the conversations in here with the divine. That's where, it's not where the power comes from, but it's where the power is magnified, and we can better connect to it and channel it. So that is Friday eclipse day, and we'll go now to Saturday. Yes, I do know which day comes after Friday, the 20th of November. Shuffling, coming to the end of Scorpio season actually. Sorry, I've really done a bad job here. I'm glad you couldn't see that because I actually just dropped the cards twice. So I am going to go to a different card deck and come back to that, because if I've dropped them twice, yes, I am clumsy, but if it's happened twice, I think I'm maybe barking up the wrong tree there. So Saturday's card is Innocence. This is almost exactly this message here, Kuan Yin, compassion repeated. Innocence, it's all about separating yourself from guilt and separating yourself also from the blame. So I guess the blame, shame, guilt, horrible trifecta that we feel from time to time, that toxic emotional trifecta, look at where that's coming up for you. And again, it could be about yourself. Are you guilt tripping yourself? Are you letting someone else guilt trip you also? That can happen. Certainly if you're in an unhealthy relationship of some sort, be it friendship, professional or romantic. Or are you also shaming yourself for something? Maybe the way you look, maybe something you should, quote unquote, should or shouldn't have done. So really clearing that kind of stuff and just recognizing you're someone who's doing the best they can. And we're in a pandemic. Life is hard for so many reasons at the moment. If ever there was a time to be gentle with ourselves, this would be it. Especially if you're a parent. Sunday, miracles. My life is a miracle. I love it. This is a nest here with the eggs. Whenever we see something around eggs, we're talking about starting new life. And of course, we all go through periods of new life. I don't just mean in terms of our lifetimes. I mean in terms of we embark on new chapters, we let go of the old, we start something new. And if there's ever a good time for doing that around a lunar eclipse would be it. Definitely letting go and starting something new would be a good moment. But if you're not ready for that, that is okay too. So when we want to let go of something and start something new, it does take some courage because we don't know what the next chapter is going to look like. It involves a lot of trusting the universe and a lot of trusting ourselves and being willing to accept that we don't know, that we can be in the uncertainty. People with a lot of safety fears in the energy, which is pretty much everyone, realistically, they struggle to do that because they feel they need to know how things are going to look to feel safe. But actually safety comes from knowing that we can be safe, we can be okay, even in the not knowingness. So maybe, and miracles is all about trusting what we cannot see and knowing that there is much more than what we can see in this tiny segment that we show, and the whole expansiveness is all out here. We don't know what that looks like, and we just have to trust. So expanding your thinking, believing in possibilities, and being very open to things turning out in a different way to what you had either hoped or feared, maybe both. We don't know the outcomes. We're not supposed to know the outcomes. That's the point. And that is something I have to tell people who come and see me wanting me to give them a psychic reading. A, I'm not a psychic, and B, I'm not interested in trying to predict the future, because the future changes depending on what you change in your life, what choices you make. We're the ones in charge of our lives. So if you want to predict the future or change the future, it starts with the choices that you make. So there's a very clear theme here around this trusting and having faith with this miracles and believe and trust, and also this idea of compassion and surrendering judgment. I would say these two are also related here, the shielding and the proceeding softly, which sounds a little bit fancy but really just means retreating. So we might need to go back into the shell for a little while, not forever, but just to do a little bit of self-reflection, a little bit of thinking, and perhaps to get a bit more guidance from the universe about what it is we need to be thinking about, working through, what we need to be taking into account to make good choices as we move forward. So as I said, could be a big week. I hope that you travel well. Remember, if all else fails, just be gentle with yourself. That's the best thing you can do. We can get really bogged down in moments when things are challenging and think this is the rest of our lives. It's not, it's just a moment. So just trying to let ourselves feel whatever we're feeling and know that there's going to be another opportunity the next day or later down the track. Things will shift. It's not forever. Nothing's forever. That's the beauty and the challenge of lives in this lifetime on this planet. So thank you for being here. If you would like to know more information about the healing work that I do, which works at a very deep level, my website is onegroundedangel.com, onegroundedangel.com. If you want to follow me on social media, you can see each card get posted each day. My Instagram account is at onegroundedangel. I only have one Instagram account, at onegroundedangel. That's it. I'm also on Facebook, and my Facebook page is called One Grounded Angel. If you would like to work with me, go via the website. That's the only way I take bookings because of the scammers. So anyone who approaches you on social media trying to take your money, it ain't me. I don't do that. I only go via my website. I have a very strict process to follow, so that you can trust me, and so that I can be sure, to engage with you to make sure that you're the right fit for my work as well. I said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't want to work with people who I can't help, because that's not good for anyone. It means that I'm going to waste your time. So thank you very much for being here. I hope this has helped you, and I will be back next week as we hurtle towards the end of the year and start to welcome in 2022. Take care of yourself.